Welcome on in. This is Lowcountry Money Talk. I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and we have for you today, back in studio, Phil Bloyd. He's with Revolutionary Financial Group, and it is so nice to see you, Phil.
It's good to be here again.
Got a lot to talk about. You know,
Sure.
we always do, and
Yeah.
I always learn a lot. Our viewers do too, because you have a wealth of knowledge here for us.
I've been around a while.
You know what to do. And that's good, because a lot of things are changing, you know, everything's always in flux, and we need to know what to do with our money. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Roth conversions the right way.
Right.
So let's talk about that. Okay, we've got increasing tax concerns, right? So people wondering, and this might be you at home too, viewers, as you're watching, is it time to convert retirement savings to a tax-free Roth IRA? And what kind of guidance would you give people if so?
So let's first talk about what it is and how it works. The term Roth comes from a senator, Roth. I think it was Delaware years ago. He passed away, but they came up with a provision on how we could have IRAs and we could pay the taxes on them now, as far as a traditional IRA where we're kind of deferring the tax. But if we do a Roth and we say, okay, we're not going to take the deduction off of our income tax return this year, but all the growth of that, if we follow the IRS guidelines, could be income tax free.
Right.
So over the years and the compounding interest and the stock market gains, that could be a huge number. And so what we talk about, the thing where it makes sense or not, when I'm in front of a group of people, I ask, how many of you think income taxes may go up in the future or may be higher than what they are today? And what do you think they do?
I would guess they would say yes.
Yes, most of them say yes. And then I'm like, okay, so most of you have a lot of money that hasn't been taxed yet because it's been deferred in this IRA or 401k or whatever it may be. So we're going to be dependent that the IRS is going to be benevolent with us and not raise those income taxes. So we have this money trapped and we don't know at what rate it's going to be taxed in the future.
Right.
But what we do know is we do know what the income tax rates are today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, why wouldn't we today decide how much it would make sense to convert over to a Roth from a traditional? Go ahead and pay the taxes off now while we know we're in a relatively low income tax environment today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it may make sense. You know, you want to talk to your accountant, and you may be your own accountant if you do your own QuickBooks or whatever. So you may run some samples and say, hey, if I convert $50,000 from a traditional IRA this year, how does that affect my income tax? And to me, I think it makes sense. As you said, I think income taxes are going to be higher in the future.
Right.
Why do we think income tax? Well, because we've got a $30 trillion debt, huh? So, you know, I have a unique way of doing it. I like to do the equities portion first because I think we have the highest opportunity for growth in equities over time. So if you have a stock portfolio or something like this and you have an IRA, maybe we should have a Roth IRA and convert some of these stocks, not sell the stocks, but maybe convert them over at current value.
Okay. Well, and that makes sense, you know, as you're thinking about over time, obviously, like you're saying, the taxes going up is very likely. So why not make the move while you know what you're working with at a time where it's likely lower?
Sure.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about, you know, does it matter? You know, another question for you, I'm sure our viewers are wondering too, where money comes from when we're talking about paying conversion tax.
Right.
Do we need to know where it's coming from? Is it a big difference from one to the other?
Yes, and we talk about, you know, it makes sense we have different buckets of distribution. What I think we'll do on that one, because it's going to take a few minutes to kind of knock that out, we're getting to the end of the segment. So I think we'll start the next segment and say, when we owe these taxes for the Roth conversion, where can we get them and how does it make sense? Or does it make sense?
Or does it make sense? Okay, bigger question than I thought. We'll tackle that one after the break. We'll be right back on Lowcountry Money Talk. Stick with us.